Hello, Year 6. Welcome to your... No. Hello, Year 6. Welcome to your final English of the week. So let's get straight on with it. Your WOP today then is to correctly punctuate direct and indirect speech. And what I'm looking for is that you identify the difference between direct and indirect speech, that you understand the role of indirect speech in newspaper reports, and that you accurately use speech in a range of different ways. So this kind of leads on a little bit from our big read. We've just looked at some speech in our big read, and today we're going to practice that so that we can put quotes into our newspapers. Really important part. For today's English lesson though, you will need to take a bit of a starring role, and you're going to actually act the part of someone who has seen an asteroid colliding with Earth, because we are going to see that is going to be our overall news story for when we have done, well, when we get to doing the hot right of Hello, Year 6. Welcome to your final English of the week. It is Friday the 8th of January, as I said in the big read video. So let's have a look at our WOP for today. Today, we are learning to correctly punctuate direct and indirect speech. And what I'm looking for from this piece of work today is that you identify the differences between direct and indirect speech. We've looked at some direct speech in the big read today. We're going to be focusing more on the indirect speech in the English. To understand the role of indirect speech in newspaper reports, and to accurately use speech in a range of different ways. So, today, for the English, you're actually going to need to take a little bit of a starring role, sort of almost a little bit of acting. And you're going to need to play the part of someone who has seen an asteroid colliding with Earth. So an asteroid strike on Earth. And you're actually going to need to play the part of a few different people to generate 2 or 3 really good quotes. You're actually going to generate more than that today. But when it comes to the hot right, you'll then be able to choose 2 or 3 of your favorites. That's what our hot right is going to be about. We're going to do a newspaper report about an asteroid striking the Earth, which is why that's what you're going to be acting out for our quotes today. So, as I say, you're going to generate a set of quotes about that asteroid hitting the Earth. You're going to pretend that you've seen this asteroid crash land into a garden shed. When you're generating your quotes, you need to imagine that you're the witness who has actually seen this, and you need to think about what the 5 W's are. What happened, when it happened, where it happened, why you think it happened, and how it happened. So you need to think about how it made you feel, what has happened since, and have there been any other unusual occurrences. You can completely make those up. This is your time to sort of be as imaginative as you can for these quotes. You're going to need to sort of play the part of 2 people. You might be able to ask your parents to help you out a little bit with this, or someone that you're working with at home, because they can be the interviewer. They could ask you some questions and you can answer them. If not, though, you need to imagine you are both those parts. What questions would you ask as the interviewer, and what would your answers be as the person being interviewed? To do that, though, and to do this accurately, you are going to need to think about a lot of different things. So, as I've said there, this is a quick reminder. Your task today is to write out a minimum of 5 made-up quotes from witnesses to an asteroid hitting a garden shed. You can play the part of as many different witnesses as you'd like, but one of them has to be the owner of the shed. Now, in order to do this, you're going to need to understand the rules for direct and indirect speech. Now, indirect speech is when we're quoting. So it's when the person isn't saying it directly, it's being quoted by a second person, in this case, you as the writer of the newspaper report. To help you with that, I'm going to ask you please to complete a couple of bits in your purple CGP books. So I'd like you to read over the lesson on inverted commas in your purple CGP books. And then I'd like you to complete the connected lesson in the white English CGP books. The pages look like this. So the first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you in the purple book to read over the lesson on page 47, thinking about all the things it says there and explaining how to correctly use speech in a text, in a piece of writing. And then I'd like you to have a go at completing the inverted commas questions on page 45 in the white English CGP book. When that is done, you're then going to generate your 5 quotes using the correct speech punctuation, the inverted commas punctuation. Once that's done, as before and as ever, you then need to make sure you're taking a picture, scanning it in, or typing it up to send to me, and I can then send you some feedback, offer any assistance, point out any errors or any flaws, and give you something to think about as an extension if needed. But for now, that's everything from me. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll be back with you on Monday. But for now, goodbye.